Hi, Mark.
Mate.
Scott, how you going?
Not nice, mate.
Nice to meet you.
You too, mate.
Yeah. So these your kids out here?
Yeah, mate.
Yeah. So you got Finn, Georgia,
And Mia, the small
Mia, little
one.
girl. Yeah.
Yeah.
With your
My
wife, Kelly.
Kelly, yeah.
Yeah. Now, Mark, I need some advice from you. Abby's 6, my little girl, and I'm probably going to have to try and tell her over the next couple of months. Is any advice you've got as to how to try and make that as a positive experience as possible? How do I go about doing it? What do I do?
Probably the hardest thing you'll ever do in your life.
Oh, where's Abby's bum? Oh, I gotcha.
Hey, Charlie, what's Abby doing?
Oh,
Charlie, what's Abby doing?
There's no known cause. There's no cure. I know what my fate is. Come on, Charlie. Let's see if we can catch her. She's very good. I know exactly what's going to happen. Green aliens, that's right. Andy's going to college any day now. What he said. You know, if it had to happen to someone, yeah, thankfully it was me rather than the kids or Sarah.
Some nights I lie awake thinking about it. I'm 80 years of age. I say, will I go before Scott? Or Scott be here when I go? Then I say, hey, wouldn't it be great if we both went together?
Scott Sullivan was born in April 1972, the youngest child of parents Charles and Kath.
Scott as a boy was a very happy child. Always smiling, always happy. He just went with the flow.
He grew up in Queensland, loved the beach, his rugby and school.
Just a really enjoyable upbringing.
But his biggest love is Sarah. They met 15 years ago.
Sarah was a friend of a friend, and we met in London.
Was it love at first sight?
There was probably a lot of alcohol involved through the courtship. So, as soon as I saw Sarah, I knew she was a pretty amazing person.
4 years later, Scott proposed.
He said, would I do him the honour of becoming his wife?
Cheers to our 10-year
anniversary.
Yeah,
Who'd have thought it when we met in London?
They have 2 children, 2-year-old Charlie
Drawing a picture.
and 6-year-old Abby.
There's me, there's Mummy, there's Daddy, and there's Charlie.
Can you wave to Daddy? Can you see him out there? Can you see Daddy out there?
Scott and his family live in Brisbane, where he's a senior executive
How things
with
going,
Suncorp
guys?
Bank.
Hey, Jeremy, what about those Springboks, eh? Feeling lucky? I was living the dream. I had a great job, lived in a very nice house. My wife's fantastic, 2 great kids. Played rugby all my life.
Yeah.
I love rugby, love all my rugby mates. Says I don't see you clapping. So really, it was, a dream come true. I've had such a lovely life.
Then, 12 months ago, Scott noticed weakness in his right hand. At work, he couldn't pour a coffee. Scott thought he'd pulled a muscle. Sarah insisted he see a doctor.
Hi, Scott.
Oh, g'day, Rob. How
How
are
do you
you?
do? Rob Henderson.
Nice to
Come
meet
on
you, Rob.
through.
Excellent, thank you.
How are you feeling today?
Oh, not too bad. A bit nervous, but we'll see how we go. So I went to the appointment, and it all happened really quickly.
And we can actually count the individual motor nerves to give us a better measure than trying to assess your muscle strength.
In a matter of probably about half an hour to 45 minutes, the neurologist said to me that, I think you've got motor neuron disease. which I pretty much knew nothing about.
We don't have an effective therapy for motor neuron disease. I hope that that's a situation that's going to change. So we can't beat motor neuron disease at this stage where we lie in 2011.
And then he said, that your life expectancy is 3 to 5 years. And so that was really, really tough. And then I didn't really know what to do, so I was supposed to go straight to work. And obviously I was in no state to do that. So I sort of let my boss know that, hey, I need to take today off. And then I caught the bus back to home here and went and sat in the park for about an hour. Just to collate my thoughts. Sarah wasn't expecting me home. And then, so I sort of walked in. Yeah. And I started down and said, I pretty much had to say that I'm dying.
Do you remember the day that he was diagnosed?
Yeah, clearly. It's etched in my brain. Can't forget it. Can't erase that one. I'm pretty good at blocking things out, but I can't get rid of that one. Never seen him like that. But then he was worried about me, which is him, so.
It's a doctor's job to heal the sick, but every patient Rob Henderson sees with MND will die. Average life expectancy is 27 months.
For many medical people, it's the disease they fear most of all.
Why is that?
Because people retain all of their thinking processes and it's that progressive weakness which leads to such severe disability. And it's relatively rapid. And those are the things that really, I think, frighten people.
Here's Nana and Charlie, they're here. Yeah, let's go say hello.
I can't bear to think of him not being able to speak, not being able to swallow, not being able to cuddle his children, who he adores. If it's meant to be, I will have to accept it.
It's one of these things you don't want to happen, but you know it's going to happen.
Mike, I love you so much.
Love you, Stacey.
Brisbane couple Mike and Stacey Neild married 2 years ago.
By the giving and receiving of rings, I do now pronounce them husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
1 year after their wedding, Stacey was diagnosed with MND. Stacey is 29.
In a bit more.
Motor neurons are a series of pathways which tell our muscles to move. When the disease strikes, those pathways fade away.
Right.
A command to move a leg, an arm, or to speak no longer gets through. Last to go is the ability to breathe.
Got your tail a bit weird there, hey? Sorry.
Rob Henderson is also Stacey's doctor.
I just think it puts perspective on time. You know, it's just a different... we've all got a certain length of time on this earth and we've all got to make the most of it, so it's just a difference, isn't it?
It's so easy to not be making the most of your opportunities.
You know, it really is just so easy to be cruising along, and yeah, I mean that's the great thing about still having touch is she can still feel a hug, and she still
and you sleep together
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the same bed.
yeah, yep, still sleep in the marriage bed. Yeah, nothing's changed there, yeah, and yeah, we hold hands a lot still, and we still. We kiss a lot, and we're still close to each other all the time, which is positive for both of us. You're surviving. With a lot of work. It's a constant battle.
In the later stages, it can be very, very tough. It's your body that's failed you. Your mind still stays 100% active.
I can see there's twitching on your arm just there, mate.
Yeah.
Can you just...
Particularly the arms do twitch quite a bit in my circumstance. It's more just annoying than painful. It is a bit of a constant reminder of what I have. For me, the things I'm struggling with at the moment are just simple things. Joining up my left cuff link, changing Charlie's baby clothes with those little clips and just those small finite things I'm starting to struggle with.
Do you worry about the kids not knowing they're dead?
No, because everyone will tell them. And he'll be here for a lot longer. But, just got to make sure that there's just memories etched in their brain that they'll never forget. It's the kids. I just catch him watching them. He doesn't know I'm doing it, and I can see it. It's the kids. He knows I'll be fine. He knows his family will be fine. And he knows that everyone will be there for the kids, but he should be, and I know that hurts him. That's the worst. It's the kids.
Mommy loves you. Daddy loves you. It's okay. It's okay.
Hi Abby, it's Dad here. Now, I'm going to give you some advice on boys and listen very, very carefully, okay? All the boys out there, they're bad news, all right? So you have to be very, very picky and choosy and make sure you find the right guy.
If you had a special message, what would you say to Dad?
I love you to the moon and back.
What's breaking your heart?
The kids, I think.
They don't know yet, though, do they?
Yeah, so that's going to be a very tough conversation. Yeah, I mean, how do you tell your daughter that you're dying?
Abby is 6.
What's happening, Buzz?
How much do you love him?
This much.
How much?
This much.
This much.
And whenever he can,
All right, Abby, this is your first driving lesson from your dad.
Scott is recording video messages for Abby to play when she grows up.
Hi, Abby, it's Dad here. Now, I'm going to give you some advice on boys and listen very, very carefully, okay? All the boys out there, they're bad news, all right? So you have to be very, very picky and choosy and make sure you find the right guy.
Charlie, his son, is also getting instructions.
All right, Charlie, Daddy's now going to show you how to shave. So don't rush into this because once you start shaving, then you'll never stop. You'll be shaving for the rest of your life.
While Scott can still walk, he's running. After his diagnosis, he started training for the Gold Coast Half Marathon. One goal was to finish, but the real goal was to raise as much money as possible for support and to research the disease that's killing him and 12 Australians every week.
I just want to do something which is adds a bit of value to the world very much and give something back.
With his mates beside him, he never faltered.
watching him come around that corner was just... My heart was just in my mouth and I had to look away so I didn't cry. I think I did cry.
Scott has raised $380,000 and the money is still coming in. 2 weeks ago in Brisbane, in recognition of his efforts, Scott was awarded the Pride of Australia Medal for courage.
And so proud of him.
Because everything he's doing at the moment is about...
Someone else.
Someone else.
It is. And that just shows you what he's about. He set this foundation up within a couple of months of finding out his diagnosis, but it wasn't about him. It was about helping other people that are in a way worse situation.
We gather together to pray through the intercession of Mary MacKillop for the healing of Scott Sullivan, suffering from motor neurone disease. I couldn't face up to this without my faith. I just truly believe Scott will be saved. That's what keeps me going. I'll never give up hope, never.
It's the most baffling of diseases. No known cause and no cure. But now there may finally be hope. A new trial of a powerful new drug. Scott is one of 800 people worldwide who've been accepted on the trial. Half will be given placebos.
It's exciting for motor neuron disease. That's what's given us all a little lift in energy this year, is this clinical trial.
It must be so frustrating not knowing whether or not you're taking the real drug or you're taking the fake drug.
Yeah, it's very frustrating. I'd love to know whether I'm on the real one or the fake one. But at the end of the day, I'm lucky to be on any sort of trial at all.
Do you believe the impossible is possible?
Usually I would. Unfortunately, with this disease, I can't let myself have false hope. But what I'm hoping is he'll just stay as he is now. Things won't get worse. And he'll be one of those strange cases that he'll just have these little symptoms and things won't get worse.
Good morning.
Charlie's been waiting for you.
This is a tough question, but when it comes to the point when you can't eat and you can't breathe, have you considered taking your own life?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So, in a perfect world, I'd love the opportunity to pull up some sort of ready. But that's problematic in the current world.
He said that he'd like to leave with dignity. Is that something that you'd like to support?
Absolutely.
And now they're trying to get Eris.
Is her name Mariposa?
No, Eris.
Oh, sweetheart.
Now, darling, listen to Mummy and Daddy. We've got something very, very important to tell you, OK? I know what my fate is. I've accepted it. I know exactly what's going to happen. Now, unfortunately, Daddy's going to be getting a little bit weaker and weaker, OK, over the next couple of years. I know I'm going to be paralysed, going to be in a wheelchair. And, I know I'm going to lose my speech.
Is that true?
It's true, darling.
It is true, sweetheart.
It is true, yeah. So when you know all those things, once you accept it, yeah, really not afraid of anything, to be honest.
How'd you go?
Pretty good, yeah. So, yeah. She's a tough kid, so... But, yeah, she asked, is it true? What else did she ask? Why did it happen to me? And asked whether I can tear a piece of paper, which I probably can't. But,
Are you okay?